All right. Are we all set? Wait.
Just a second. Yes, ready to go.
Okay. Good morning and welcome to the State and Local Government Committee meeting. We have a diverse agenda today. First up is a public hearing on an act regarding winter maintenance on private roads in the town of Windham. Then we have followed by a work session on 4 bills. And following that, we will be considering which bills this committee will be carrying over until the next session. So to get us going, I'll have everybody introduce themselves. Let me see, let's go back over here. We'll start with Senator Rosen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Kimberly Rosen, Senate District 8. My district goes from Castine through the city of Brewer up to Lincoln, and I live in Bucksport. Thank you.
Good morning. Representative Toole.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I'm Will Toole. I represent the Machias area plus Lubec and Eastport. And it's a pleasure to be with everyone today.
And good morning. Representative Bryant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Mark Bryant. I represent House District 24, part of the town of Windham. Good morning.
Good morning. Representative Walter Reisman.
Madam Chairman, and good morning to everybody. My name is Walter Reisman. I live in Harrison and I represent District 69, which is Bridgeton, Harrison, and Denmark.
Good morning. Representative Dorr.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Representative Donna Dorr, and I represent a portion of the great city of Augusta.
Representative Head.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Frances Head. I live in Bethel. I represent District 117, 23 towns and townships in Oxford and Franklin County.
Good morning. Kathy Downs.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Downs. I represent District 130, which is Bucksport and Arden. Thank you.
Representative Greenwood.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Randy Greenwood. I represent House District 82, which are the towns of Litchfield, Monmouth, and my hometown of Wales in both Androscoggin and Kennebec counties.
And Representative Copeland.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Lynn Copeland, and I am honored to represent the folks in House District 14, which is downtown in coastal Saco. Welcome.
Terrific. So as I mentioned, we have a bill from Representative Bryant. Good morning, Representative Bryant. If you would like to introduce your bill, we'll get this public hearing underway.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fellow members of this Committee on State and Local Government, I am Representative Mark Bryant from Windham, House District 24. I am pleased to be before you today to introduce LD 1723, an act regarding winter maintenance on private roads in the town of Windham. This private and special law will help the town of Windham address longstanding issues with more than 100 private roads surrounding the lakes in Windham. Over the past 20 years or more, these roads have been publicly plowed. This has given rise to confusion about whether the roads have become public townways, regardless of the fact that this has never been the intent of the town or the abutting property owners. Several decades ago, private roads located around the lakes were not accessible during the winter. The town of Windham entered into individual agreements with the property owners at the time to plow these roads during the winter months. These formal agreements have not been renewed, but in practice, the plowing has continued. There's been no formal documentation of this, leading to ambiguity. Now, many of the homes in the new lots don't have access to documentation that the public easement had once been given to allow plowing or to outline maintenance responsibilities between the town and the landowners, which would help facilitate public plowing. Town has requested that the legislature issue an ordinance to address the access of these private roads for public vehicles during the winter months. This bill would further instruct landowners to provide annual maintenance during the year, such as stormwater management to address drainage issues and ensure that public plow trucks can access the roads safely during the winter. Current law does not provide a mechanism to do so. The town has spoken with Kate DeFure, and the Maine Municipal Association will not object to this private and special legislation. Thank you for taking up this bill so late in our session. Passing this bill now will allow legislation to be placed by the upcoming winter so the town can create an ordinance and notify the residents in a timely fashion. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. I'm happy to answer any questions from the committee.
Thank you, Representative Bryant. Representative Tool, you have questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Bryant, for bringing the bill forward. Yes, my questions are pretty straightforward, simple, and I know you've got guests in the audience today, but do you have a letter from the town saying, please do this? Do you have a vote of the council or a vote of the community saying they want this? Anything like that, just to say that, yeah, we want this. If so, I think that's great. I know it is late in the session.
Well, I think the town manager has submitted his testimony, and I think it would be best to talk with him directly if you wish. He is in the audience, and he can give you the history of where we're at.
And I think we all would want to just have that assurance that yes, the town is on board with this.
The town is definitely on board with it. They did have a town meeting. They did have it on the agenda for the council. They've worked hundreds of hours trying to get this right. And the reason we're coming in now is that they finally have it in the posture that will be helpful. And if we get it through now, they can again have town meetings and work on the ordinance and then implement it for the winter maintenance to come.
Thank you. Representative Reisman, you have a question.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
You're a little soft this morning, sir. If you could get closer to your microphone.
Is it better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'll bring it closer. So my question is that the issue in Wyndham is not totally different than many towns along the lakes in the state. And why is Wyndham needing this exclusively and not the rest of the state?
Thank you, Walter. That's an excellent question. Reason for us is that we actually years ago did enter into agreements, and a lot of places have not. We had entered into agreements and we didn't keep them up. And so by not keeping them up, then it's not actually a legal thing for a town to be putting public money into private roads. And we have documentation of those agreements back in the day.
Just a second question, Representative. Are any of these roads up to town specs in terms of what these types of roads need to be built? For example, if this was a subdivision, for the town to basically maintain them, they'd have to fit the specifications for.
Right. See, you're right. Our maintenance is not putting dirt on the road, doing the sides and all. Our maintenance is just a winter maintenance, which is sanding and plowing. It's up to the private roads and the associations to have the roads in a position that we can do that. And that's part of the issue. Most of those roads, as you can imagine, were just little camp roads going between the trees and getting to the houses. And so it's not acceptable with the new conditions on understanding of soil erosion and all the environmental impacts on the lakes to just leave those little tow paths and try to put big trucks on them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any further questions for Representative Bryant? Seeing none, Senator Diamond, welcome to the State and Local Government. Do you have testimony on behalf of this bill?
Thank you, Representative Matlock and Senator Baldacci. He's not there. He's probably in my committee dealing with his bill, and members of the State and Local Government Committee Yes, I just wanted to, I did not present anything in writing because Representative Bryan has been so thorough with this, and we also had have the town manager and legal department available for your questions as well. But I did want to say that I'm full support of an act regarding winter maintenance on private roads in Wyndham. Representative Bryan has led the effort on this, working closely with the town government, and we just wanted to show that the entire delegation for Wyndham is on board with this and that we support it. We know that the time has come. I remember working on private roads maybe 15 years ago through the legislative process, and we've learned nothing at all. It has been that we've learned that this is constantly needs adjustment, especially for the town the size of Wyndham with so many private roads. I mean, well over 100 miles, maybe even more than that by now. So it's something that is important to our community, and the community's been discussing it. And so we look forward to your support and supporting the bill. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone have a question for Senator Diamond? Seeing none, thank you for coming by and chatting with us this morning, sir.
Thank you.
Representative Corey, welcome to State and Local Government. Do you have information for us this morning?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Representative Matlack, Senator Diamond, and members of the Committee on Transportation. I'm Representative Patrick Corey, and I serve the good people of Wyndham. I'm here to speak in favor of LD 1723, an act regarding winter maintenance on private roads in the town of Wyndham. Wyndham has a lot of private roads, and Representative Bryan, Senator Diamond, and I know this from hitting all those doors during campaign season. Our town council has been trying to find a solution for some time, and this committee now has the opportunity to be part of that solution. Our town manager and attorney will be able to speak to this issue with much more eloquence and specific details than I. I believe Representative Bryant gave a great overview. I ask that you work with them and support this legislation. To answer Representative Toole's question for Representative Bryant about town support, the town council chair is in the waiting room, and I'm sure he'll be able to answer that. And he can also talk about this issue, pretty eloquently, as he's pretty smart guy that's been following this issue for a long time. So I just like to thank you for your support and having me here today.
Thank you very much, sir, and we're happy to have you here. Does anyone have any questions for Representative Corey? Representative Dorr.
Come on, Donna, this better be nice.
Oh, come on, Patrick, really? I'm just assuming, and you can correct me, that these private roads, you send your school buses down these roads to pick up children?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, I do know that I've seen children waiting at the ends of some of these private roads to pick up children. We have a lot of these roads. Development in Wyndham kind of took its own path, and there's been issues with regard to development in Wyndham in front of the legislature, in the past. I know that some of these roads, I've heard from at least sitting in on town council meetings, have presented challenges for certain town vehicles and everything else. But it's just the town I think is trying to do its best. I mean, we're one of the fastest growing communities in Maine, and people certainly expect the services now, I think, that they got in some of the larger cities they came from.
Okay, thank you.
It's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Wonderful. And thank you for coming. If there are no further questions from committee members for Representative Corey, we appreciate you being here with us today, sir.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Next, we'll hear from the town manager of Wyndham. Is that Mr. Tibbetts? Is he? Oops, there he is.
Sorry about that.
Good morning, Mr. Tibbetts. Welcome to State and Local Government.
It's a pleasure to be here this morning, Madam Chair and representatives and members of the Joint Standing Committee. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to hear some comments from me. You have my written testimony. I'm just going to pull a couple highlights from that, and I'd like to share a couple other things, and I'll answer those questions that have been raised by fellow committee members of yours, Chairman. So first, I've been in municipal government for 26 years. I was a manager in Kennebunk for 25. I've been here in Wyndham for a year now. I started last March. One of the first things that, as when I first came into Wyndham, as a manager, you always go through all the nooks and crannies to figure out where things are at. And one of the things that I realized when I saw this was we were putting town trucks on private roads. Well, that's a huge red flag because it's against state law. You're not allowed to do that. So it raises a whole host of questions about insurances. I'm putting municipal people on private land. We're paying for that with public funds. You can't be done. So I've spent hundreds of hours with my staff going through this, and where this basically affects 25% of our residences. We're going on these private roads and we're plowing for winter maintenance. And originally when this started, as Representative Bryant indicated, there were numerous agreements that were put out and signed. We only have about maybe 60% of those total agreements in place, and they are all really void at this point because they were geared for 1 year. They were not renewed. There was no follow-up, and quite frankly, I mean, the town made a mistake. We should have been better at our details, and we weren't. And so we've kind of created this mess, and we need to find a way out of it. I have talked with Kate Dufour, who I've known for many years. I called her, and I called a number of my colleagues in the business around the state. I says, do you guys have anything like this? And they're all shaking their heads going, no, Barry, I mean, you're really unique in Wyndham. And so we have researched this. We've looked at, we know we have 101 roads. We know we affect over 1,700 homes, and that's not counting the private ways off of these private ways where we don't plow. They are also affected. And so there is no real solution under Maine law to address this issue for me putting town municipal vehicles on these roads. What this private and special legislation does is it allows us to create a framework and a process to continue this service to our residents. I mean, we've done it for this long. We need to continue it. What I don't want to see happen is I don't want to add to it. I just want to take what we have, continue it, and solve it for our residents. And this framework does do that. We have discussed this at a council meeting on March 23rd and shared the information. I think we've done the best that we can to get the word out. The reason that it's coming to you at this time and why you didn't get it earlier was, quite frankly, I hadn't done all my research. We looked at well over probably 1,000 agreements that I had to flip through. I got three filing cases of stuff, and I've been through all of it. We just weren't ready to bring it to our representative Brian or Corey or to Senator Diamond. I needed to have all my facts in place. Now that we know that the timing is actually really appropriate for us, because this allows us through the summer to meet with all the residents that do come into some of their summer vacation homes. We can have these public meetings with them and accomplish this and get prepared for next winter, where we will still continue to do the work we're doing. It's just that by that point, I can legally put a truck on that road, and I don't endanger my employees and I don't endanger the public. Another question that came up was, are we different than other towns? I would say yes, in large part because what we started out to do was right, but we didn't follow up with it. So we're definitely outside the loop of being able to do that now. We will not require these roads, these private ways, to come up to town specs. In our ordinance, we will create a special category for this so that they can remain the same. So there's no additional burden on the residents. We're not going back to the residents and say, bring it up to town spec. That's not what we do not want to do that. What we want to do is be able to maintain these and allow them to enjoy their homes going forward. And I guess, and finally, in closing, we really believe that this legislation is the solution. That I don't know of any other town that has the challenges that we have with these roads, and we feel that this allows these longstanding issues to be addressed. When I was in Kennebunk, we never put a town truck on a private road. It was forbidden. And when I came to Wyndham, it's really quite a shocker. And I think this legislation allows us to solve this and provide the services that the residents have received, and enables us to cap or to put the parameters around so we don't have to bring in other private roads into this and add additional expense to the town budget or to other residents. So again, I really appreciate your time, and I thank you, and I hope that you'll support moving this legislation forward for the town of Wyndham and the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Representative Greenwood has a question for you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Tibbetts, have you had any opposition from members in the town that don't want you to continue this process? Are we getting into something that might be a local issue that we don't want to be part of? Do you have taxpayers that are objecting to this?
I have not received any negative comments from any resident not to proceed forward with this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Any further questions for Mr. Tibbetts? Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Tibbetts, I'm wondering, oh, sorry, my bad. So sorry. I thought I turned it off. So my concern is public input. And so you haven't received any negative feedback, but then you also say that you haven't been able to communicate with all the residents. And I'm also concerned about the precedents this sets. I mean, this is really, really difficult for you, I'm sure. But I have some real concerns about this. Maybe you can help me with that.
What are your concerns, Representative Copeland?
That it's setting a precedence that, other towns, I know in Saco as a city councilor, we worked extensively on this, not quite this type of issue, but on maintenance of private roads and people having to spend the money to bring the roads up to spec, and people, there's been, litigation, there's all kinds of issues around this. And I'm concerned that we're opening Pandora's box.
All right. Mr. Tibbetts, do you have a response for Representative Copeland?
That's a great question, and thank you very much. So I think it's important to, when you're looking at this issue for Wyndham, Wyndham is really very unique. We have more roads that we plow than any other municipality that I know of. And we're not asking our residents to bring, with this legislation, to bring those roads up to town specs, because that truly would be an unfair burden on them, Representative Copeland. You're absolutely correct. We're not going to do that. What we're simply saying to them is that I need a framework, or I need a process on how to put a vehicle on a private road and know that we're not going to get sued. The town's not going to get dragged into a lawsuit because of something with a plow truck going down that road, or it hits something, or something happens. So this allows us to protect the town. It also protects our residents that we are going to continue this service. We're not saying that we're going to stop. We're not going to stop it and then force them to take us to court to continue it. We're saying we will continue this. We're going to work with you. We're going to help you form your road associations, and we're going to solve this going forward so that it doesn't become a problem that continually grows and festers. As far as residents that have receiving complaints or receiving concerns, I truly have not received any. And the people that I have talked to, and this is just people that come into my office, and it happens fairly regularly. I talk about a number of issues. I oftentimes bring this up, and the people that I talk to all look, when I start to explain particularly this issue, what I hear is it's good that the town is addressing this and is going to have a framework going forward. So I think that the response is going to be very positive for those that don't know. I mean, this affects over 1,700 homes, and there's no way that I could meet with every single one of them, right? So I've not selectively, but I've tried to put out the people that come through my office, and I've tried through the council to get the feedback that we could. And the council has spent many hours deliberating this, trying to find out how do we preserve these services for these residents, and also once we've done that, how do we also be able to pass a straight face test back to the rest of our residents who are really taking tax dollars and putting it on a private road. And so it's quite a dilemma. But the council has firmly agreed. They voted 7-0 to move forward with this, that we're going to continue the services for these roads that we've done. We're not going to add any more. We're going to preserve that, and we're going to work with our residents. So I feel really confident that we got a great solution here. And I don't believe that any residents are really going to find objections to it, because if I was on one of those roads, I wouldn't want the service to stop. If I was, let's say I just bought the home and I have young kids, or I'm elderly and I live on that road, and the town comes along and says, oh, we're not going to plow it anymore. So now I got to pay some kind of association fee or some maintenance fee to have that road plowed, where normally the town was paying for it. I would be very upset. So we really have thought this through to eliminate the burden to them. This has been in this, plowing winter maintenance has been in our budget for 30 years. And it's in our budget again this year for this coming year. We're not going to stop the service. I just need to put it into a framework that's going to function within state law. And there is no state law that allows me to do this. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you for your testimony, sir. My question to you would be, I had it all framed in my mind earlier. Let me think again. The agreements that were in place that started this process way back when, they are all null and void at this point?
I'll let my attorney answer that, but from my perspective, I'm going to say yes, because these agreements were based on renewals. None of these agreements were ever recorded in the county registry. So not having them recorded, and from what we can tell and looking, and I've selectively gone through, I read all the agreements that we have. And in some cases, I've selectively pulled out like 5 different streets, and then I drilled down, okay? And I said, okay, so who owned this property back in 1975? Who owns it now? And then I looked to see that the new person who bought that property, and I go and I check the registry, there's nothing in the registry. There's nothing recorded. So these agreements are all over the place, and I don't believe that any of them are still valid. But I think from a practical standpoint, where the town has provided a service and we have done this for our residents, we as a town have an obligation, in all fairness, to continue doing what we're doing. And that's the objective of where we want to get to, Representative Reisman. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, basically the one word answer is none of these agreements are in force at this point. Legally.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep. My wife has always said I talk too much, so you can just just do this sign. You'll do this sign. She always puts her hand, goes across like this, and that means shut up, Barry.
Okay. Representative Shul, your hand is up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I know this is a public hearing, and our purpose here is to gather just general thoughts and identify issues. And I know some of the concerns and questions that have been raised by folks. We do have another committee day on Monday, and if folks are not comfortable voting this today, I would encourage folks to ask questions over the weekend and take time and really dig into this over the weekend. But that's more of a comment, because I know we have we have folks here that are interested and have other information to add. So I guess that's generally, rather than have a work session in the middle of a public hearing, that's where I'm kind of at right now.
Thank you, Representative Toole. Do we have any further questions for Mr. Tibbetts? Representative Reisman?
Well, thank you. Actually, I don't have a question for him. I just wanted to know if anybody from MMA is in the room.
This is not.
Yes. Ms. Graham from MMA is here today. but we're going through the list of people in the order that we have set up, but there is somebody from MMA. Thank you very much, Mr. Tibbetts. We'll now hear from Kristen Collins, the attorney for the town of Wyndham. Welcome to State and Local Government, Ms. Collins.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I am the town attorney for Wyndham and about 24 other towns and cities throughout the state. I was at Maine Municipal Association before this as a staff attorney, and I really do want to speak to how unique this situation is. I will say that when I first got, when we signed on with the town to be council a few years ago, I first got sort of a small question about this maintenance practice. And I asked, wait a minute, what do we have that authorizes this? And everybody said, oh, no, we're okay because we have these agreements. And someone handed over a copy of one of the agreements. And I about had a heart attack because that agreement was not recorded. It didn't run with the land. And we've been relying on these agreements for decades now. And Wyndham has had unprecedented development. And so with every new lot split, with every new home that's built, the problem compounds itself because those people never even had an agreement to start with. So what our options are right now, I think we have 3 options and none of them are great. The first one would be to go back to every single person on every single one of these roads and get a public easement and a road maintenance agreement in place that would be recorded and run with the land. Now, some of these roads have 100 residences on them. So what about that one person that we can't find, or that one estate that has 5 heirs that we can't find to sign off on that public easement? We could use eminent domain to convert all of these into public easements, but we have to pay damages. And that would really add up. And then the third option would be to keep doing the plowing work, knowing that if there's an accident with one of the trucks, we are potentially liable and not covered. Or we could, and also risk during that process, someone saying, okay, well, you're doing all this work without having set parameters around it, that it's only for winter maintenance. And you've now converted this to a town way because you've been doing this for 20 years without permission. And now not only do you have to keep doing the winter maintenance, but you have to upgrade the road, you have to repair the road, you have to bring it up to town way standards, which given the extent of these roads, first of all, it's totally impractical physically to bring most of these up to a passable town standard. And just legally speaking and financially speaking, in order to do that would be just an insane amount of money and legal effort. And then the other option would be to stop doing this, in which case we have school buses that can't access, people that can't access their property, and they have no good mechanism to take over this maintenance for themselves. Because again, how do you form a road maintenance association when you have 100 people on the road? We're asking people to do that, and we will provide them the support to do that. But to just stop this cold turkey and expect that people could take care of the maintenance would be a lot to ask of our residents as well. So, we went over every possible solution that we could think of to try to get this in order. None of them are good. All of them expose the town to a great deal of legal liability and financial expense. And, the only opposition that I could see to this particular law would be for someone who is not on one of these roads that's been plowed for 20 years and says, hey, what about me? And to that person, I would say, we were never allowed to do this in the first place. We're not allowed to do it for you. We are trying to protect the town from liability on these other roads. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. We're not starting a whole program in the town of Wyndham where we're going to plow private roads as a matter of course. And I think that any other town that would come to you and say, well, wait a minute, Wyndham did this and we want to do it too. I think they're going to fall in that second category of people where they would like to be able to provide the service, but they're not in that position of established liability that we find ourselves in. So that's the distinguishing factor. That's how this passes constitutional muster, because there's a ton of public purpose to kind of put this in a box and take care of it. And really, we are not looking to start this whole program of spending public funds for private purposes on a townwide basis going forward. I'm happy to answer any more legal type questions you might have too.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate your testimony, ma'am. A few questions that I would have about the process and the legislation. The first one is my understanding, we passed this. This allows the town to start the process of adopting local ordinances. That's correct. Is that correct?
An ordinance would be part of the process, but the bill itself authorizes, the work to continue and insulates the town from liability as well.
Right. So with that whole process of developing the ordinance, there will be public hearings, there will be public input. Folks will have the option of whether they want to weigh in. Is that on whether this becomes a permanent thing versus something to get us through the next year? Is that a fair interpretation, or am I a little off base there?
No, absolutely. The bill calls for an ordinance to be enacted by the town council. And in doing so, they have to have at least one public hearing.
Right.
And that will not only, announce that this is the new protocol and that the existing arrangement will continue, but the public will have the opportunity to comment on things like, what basic standards are we expecting people to keep the roads up to in terms of summer maintenance? What is the process and the expectation on forming road associations to help kind of take things forward and be more responsible for the general upkeep of the roads, and all sorts of issues like that.
Right. And ultimately, the town council will have to vote on a finished product, regardless of, ultimately, if the town council decides not to go this direction after hearing from the public, then at least implementing things further on, then this bill gets them through the immediate situation of liability. Is that true?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So, and I appreciate those, because I think those are important things. I certainly appreciate other committee members' concerns, and am totally on board with giving folks until Monday to sort through those concerns and get more comfortable with it. But I just wanted to circle back before we get too far off track. And my last question, I guess, was, you've been practicing municipal law for a long time. Have you ever had another town come to you with a situation like this, or try to propose a scenario like this in your time practicing law? And how long would that be? And if so, when?
So I guess I'm 16 years in now doing this, and this is the only area of law I've ever practiced in. And of course, at MMA, getting questions from 400 some towns on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, we would get, and I've gotten the occasional question of, the town has been plowing this road, and someone's telling us we shouldn't. And I would say, yes, you shouldn't. And you need to make sure you stop doing that before you get to 20 years, because you may unwittingly convert this to a town road and be in charge of this road forever and in all ways. But what I've never seen is a town that sort of purposefully embarked on a program to do this to a huge extent, with the number of miles and the percentage of residences and percentage of roads like this, and thinking they were okay, and therefore doing it for 20 years and now trying to fix things after the fact. That's what makes this a bit of a legal quandary, more than a bit.
Oh, and I appreciate that. And I think that's also something folks need to keep in mind, because I have towns, everybody, we all have towns where there's road issues. We've seen the other side of the road issues throughout this session, and they're not black and white.
Representative Reisman, do you have a question?
Thank you. I'm not sure the person testifying right now can answer this, but you mentioned an example of 100 houses on a road. And that it's difficult to get to all these people to ask them about this process.
You're fading. There you go. You need to be closer. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
the shortcut, the question is, how much does it cost to per resident on these private roads for the town to be plowing? So the point being, if there was a road association formed and you split the cost 100 ways, that would be relatively cheap for everybody to pay for their own maintenance without getting the town involved. I'm wondering if he has a comment on that.
I think the manager, Mr. Tibbetts, probably better equipped to answer the cost question.
Okay. One more follow-up question. Why isn't it appropriate to have a town referendum on this process before it comes to the state?
We could have a town referendum. It would be advisory. In the town of Wyndham, the council holds all the legislative authority, except over the budget. So, you know, as Mr. Tibbetts said, it has been in the budget for all of these 20 years. It will continue this year in the budget. We could have a referendum, but I think voter education would be very difficult here because it is something of a complicated legal issue to explain to people. So I would worry about, you know, whether we're getting a true representative example of whether people agree with this approach or not. You have the council who represents, you know, constituents throughout the town, and they all have recognized this is a problem and agreed with this specific language to bring it to the legislature.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Toole?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Representative Reisman spawned another question in my mind, and that was, ma'am, if you had an opinion on if we put a referendum in this bill and kept the bill in place, gave the town so much time to have it, shielded the town from liability prior up to the referendum, pending the outcome of it, is that an option that folks would, I'm just trying to think about solutions here. Is that an option that you folks might be open to?
I think we would be open to that with a caveat that I would just want to make sure that if the result of the referendum is no, that the voters don't want this process to continue, that the town is still insulated from claims that these have become townways.
Up to that date, correct?
Correct.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That because of what's transpired to date, they've not, you know, we've not created that liability as townways.
I see. I got you. That's a good point.
Thank you very much. There being no further questions for Ms. Collins, thank you for being here. I'm hoping that both you and Mr. Tibbetts will be available on Monday for our work session on this bill. The members of the committee will be, I'm sure, reaching out to folks in their area to ask questions also. But I want to make sure if you had to leave that you knew that. We would hope that you could attend on Monday. Next up, Mr. Neto has been in the queue for a little bit. So Mr. Neto, if you could introduce yourself to us and provide your testimony, please.
Thank you, Madam. Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Dave Nato. I live in the town of Wyndham. I'm chair of the town council, and I happen to live on one of these private roads a mile in. I'll try to zoom right through this testimony, but I think this, I submitted written testimony. I think a lot of the questions I hear asked would be answered within that written testimony. But something come to my mind this morning that hasn't been in written testimony. And one of them is, as a sworn member of the council, I have the responsibility of protecting and my constituents. And in that, this Pandora box that we already have is wide open and we're trying to put a lid on, it creates many more problems than you realize. One is, if you look at the town of Wyndham, a section of the town of Wyndham is on Forest Lake. That's touching the town of Cumberland. We had a written agreement with the town of Cumberland to supply emergency services. The town of Cumberland's put an ambulance and hundreds of $1,000 fire truck on the road. Fire truck happened to slide off the road and into a ditch. They needed a big wrecker to come in, 2 of them, to get the fire truck out. There was only a little bit of damage that we split with Cumberland, but they then went to their council and they took a vote to stop that response. So now the town of Wyndham is back responding to the people on Forest Lake. Our average response time in the town of Wyndham is between 8 minutes and 15 minutes. For us to respond to people on Forest Lake, it adds 25 minutes to our response. I won't bother you with the math, but it just shows you that these people that need services are going to be there for over a half hour longer than the other residents of Wyndham. And I don't recall any of that being put in any of the responses. On another occasion, one of the Wyndham fire trucks slid over 100 feet. It was going to go over a significant, but the rear end got off the road far enough the snowbank stopped. And, you know, this is our Pandora's box. I've been on the council for 7.5 years. I spent 10 years on the planning board. When we were on the planning board, it was told to us that if subdivision was going in, we couldn't look at the private road because it was grandfathered, which now I realize that we could have said, no, it's not safe. But we didn't back then because we were told legally that we can't look at the road because it's grandfathered. The other thing that you have to consider with all of this is we have 13 lakes and all these miles of private roads, but we also didn't have a road standard out of Wyndham until 2009. The only road standard we had was in place in the subdivision. That is part of what created this Pandora's box that we're dealing with. What happened with this whole process was that these were cottages on the lakes. My home was one, bought, built a year-round home, and the road happened to be accepted before I did that, and we were getting plowing services. But that plowing services, when I came in here, had 15 homes. The majority of them, except one, was on the lake. Now there's numerous roads off of this road. There's 70 houses on the road, not counting the spurs. And this is the dilemma we have. And the growth, once the lakefront had opened up, you opened up the rest of it to cheap private land. And a lot of it got developed. We've changed our ordinances. So if you do anything on a private road, if you try to come in and develop private road, a lot on a private road, that you have to upgrade the private road to the public road.
Thank you,
So-
Mr. Neto. If,
I'm sorry.
We allow about 3 minutes, so if you could
Yeah,
conclude, that'd be great.
I'll conclude. We did that and it stopped a lot of development on private roads, except for road people that had frontage. So our Pandora's box is already open. If you read what's submitted to you, I think you get a much better understanding. And I really, really thank you for listening to us, and hopefully you'll support LD 17. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any questions for Mr. Neto? There being none, we appreciate you coming to see us this morning. We'll now hear from Rebecca Graham from Maine Municipal Association. Welcome back, Ms. Graham.
Thank you, Representative Matlack and Senator Rosen, distinguished members of the State and Local Government Committee. MMA actually has no position on this bill because it is a very specific private and special law that pertains specifically and only to this community. And it's more of a case of no good deed goes unpunished. The intent was to provide services, and that has created a number of situations for them. So we don't have a position on this, and we fully support solutions that help detangle this community. The sponsor of the bill, as well as the stakeholders involved, have reached out with MMA and understand our concerns about broadening that, and are appreciative of how they approach or have approached this particular situation with their community before and with community input. So I just wanted to let folks know, because we were being referred to quite a bit, that we don't have a position on this. So, but I'm happy to be here to answer any questions should you need them.
Thank you. Mr. Reisman, you have a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two questions. One, first of all, it's not to do with the town of Wyndham, but in general, you would confirm there is a state law that says you cannot use public equipment for private purposes. Is that correct?
Correct. And additionally, I think there might be some emergency clauses in there. So if there needs to be a plow or maintenance on an emergency or on a private road to get fire trucks in, for instance, or any sort of maintenance to allow a fire truck in or something like that to deal with the situation, municipalities have that authority. But everything else needs to be worked out on the local level.
The second question has to do with a town referendum on whether to follow through on this. Is that something that is legal, since there's a town council that has all that power apparently? Could we ask them to do a referendum to follow through on the request here? Do they believe that they would want to use private public funds for private roads?
I could get back to you with MMA's opinion on the legality of that. I couldn't speak to that specifically. However, I believe that you can direct them to do any sort of response or process that you would like to complement that. In terms of how it interacts with the charter, I think that would be a deeper question that I'd like our legal team to maybe investigate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Graham.
Thank you.
If there's no further questions, is there information that the committee would like Lynn to bring to us on Monday? Representative Greenwood.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to know for Monday if we could also include Ms. Manter from the main roadways. She has a significant amount of knowledge on private roads. I was wondering if she could be invited for the work session.
Okay. All right. Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm wondering whether Lynn could provide us with a draft language that would require a town referendum on this issue.
Okay, thank you. Representative Copeland. You're on mute, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My apologies. I'm wondering if analysts can find out I'm concerned about the precedence on this, I think this could open up a slew of lawsuits across the state. And I have real concern about that. I have total empathy for the position that they find themselves in, but I think we have to look at the big picture. I can just see people saying, well, they do that here and the state allowed it, why not me? It's kind of the exception. So if you could find out about that, I'd appreciate it.
But whether or not this would be something that would set a precedent that would put a mandate on other municipalities or allow.
Well, not necessarily put a mandate on it, but, open the door to lawsuits from here to there across our state.
Okay. Thank you. Lynn, you have a comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to let Representative Copeland know I will do my best before the work session on Monday. I will do my best, but it may be a bit more than I can accomplish by then. So I just want to let you know, but I will do my best.
Thank you. Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I certainly appreciate our analyst's time in working on this. And I know a lot of the requests have been she's going to have a lot to do to pull this together for Monday. I even hesitate to bring up the idea of having something on Wednesday, but if we need to do that, we need to do it. But regardless, I guess my comment or request if she could bring forward the language on what a private and special law is, because I know freshmen and even members who haven't been around as long don't fully understand the difference between a regular bill, which applies to everybody, and a private and special law, which is limited to just a specific situation, and whether that would have a broader legal interpretation beyond the situation it's addressing. So I guess that might be the question I would have as far as whether it would set a precedent. I don't believe it would, because a private and special law applies to a specific municipality or a specific situation, and only that situation, and the courts would interpret it narrowly, but maybe that's how the research or looking into it could be directed, if that's a possibility.
Thank you. That's a good point. Representative Greenwood.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. The good representative from Harrison, Representative Reisman, asked about a possible referendum. And I just wanted to follow up on that if we were to allow a referendum, that it would be, if they chose to do a referendum, they could continue the process. I wanted to make sure that it wouldn't be a mandate, because we require them to do a referendum.
Right.
So that, if they wanted the process to work, that they may do a referendum, but we'll give them their immunity for this up through the end of the referendum. But if they don't do a referendum, it expires. So it's not a mandate.
Gotcha. Okay. Nothing further from the committee? Then we will close this public hearing at this time, and we will move into work sessions. We have 4 work sessions this morning. The first 2 are similar. LD 1680 to amend legislative expenses, reimbursements, and allowances, and LD 974 to ensure the continuance of a citizen legislature by tying future pay to state minimum wage. So we will, Representative Warren is here. We won't, I should mention that we had 2 other bills come headed towards state and local government as of Wednesday. One of those bills did not come out of the Senate, so it's not before us today. The second one was a bill from Representative Warren. It was a concept draft for which she provided language, but at this point, our analyst has worked on it, but we won't be taking up the bill at this point, will we, Lynn, because it needs additional work at this time?
That's correct, Madam Chair. LD8.
Welcome, Representative Warren. yes?
That's correct, Madam Chair. LD 383 is regarding small wireless facilities located in public rights of way. This committee considered a similar bill in the 129th. It was given to the committee in May, and it's kind of a new topic for the committee, not the public right of way, but the small wireless facilities. The committee passed a bill. It was enacted into law. I think everyone was aware that there might be some unintended consequences in the language because the committee didn't necessarily have time in that session to flesh out the issues. And I believe Representative Warren introduced her bill this session to address those concerns. What I said to the chairs.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What and Representative Warren did reach out to me this week with some proposed draft language. I didn't feel that I was able to get all of it fleshed out fully for a public hearing so that the interested parties could testify. So I shared that with the chairs and with Representative Warren that perhaps it wasn't, as I said, ready for prime time at this time.
Thank you. Representative Toole?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And before I make the motion I'm going to make, I think this might be, maybe we should deal with the carryover bills, just as deal with all of these situations before we deal with the rest of our business, just as a matter of housekeeping. And I would make a motion that we carry this over for next session and we take it up then.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Representative Greenwood. Representative Warren, sorry to get you in here only to carry it over, but we want to make sure we do this right. And so we will work on your bill, and come January, we'll schedule a hearing on it so that we can take care of this matter in a timely fashion. No, you're welcome. So the motion is to carry over this bill. Well, actually, it's a tabling motion because we'll table the bill and then in a little while we'll discuss the bills that we will be carrying over. So, I believe that's what we will be voting on, is to table this bill. Representative Bryant, did you have a question?
Motion to table.
Thank you. Seconded. Okay. So Cheryl, could you call the roll, show of hands for tabling motions? So if folks will just put up their hands, we'll agree to table this and we'll discuss it in a little while. Seems to be unanimous. Okay, thank you. So unanimous, we'll table this bill and we'll discuss it along with the others that we have tabled this afternoon, a little bit later on in the morning. Thank you for being with us, Representative Warren. So next up on our agenda are our two bills on legislative reimbursement. Lynn, do you have some information for us on this?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So both of these bills were worked, I believe, on the 12th, and there was a motion to table the two of them. So I believe a motion to take off the table for both 974 and 1680. And then I could.
Representative Greenwood moves, and a second by Representative Toole. Your hands up?
Yep, that is correct.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor of taking these two bills off the table? That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So because we worked them, I thought I would just kind of give you a reminder of what they were about. And then you can proceed if that's all right, Madam Chair.
Please, ma'am.
Yes, so LD 974 was a bill sponsored by Representative Berry, and this increases or ties the annual salary to the minimum wage earned for an individual working 2,000 hours per year, beginning in 2025, subject to a voter referendum. So that was a fairly straightforward bill. And LD 680 was from Senator Miramont. And this bill had several provisions. It increased the salary to $20,000 per year in each year of the biennium. It increased mileage to the federal rate of 56 cents per mile from 44 cents. It changed the lodging rate to an amount determined annually by the Legislative Council, which is no less than the average nightly rate of lodging in Augusta or the federal per diem, whichever is lower. So increase salary, change mileage allowance, change lodging, and providing a $250 weekly allowance in the event of a national emergency or civil emergency. So that's just brief overview of the two bills.
Okay, thank you. Representative Toole, you have an amendment to this, to the second bill, Senator Miramont's bill.
Yes, and I do, and I'm going to try to describe it, but once I'm done, if Lynn can fill in the blanks and pull it up, then I'd be very appreciative of that. And so basically we're proposing that we scale down the original bill. We do not address the issue of salary. There seems to, over the time I've been here, there seems to be broad agreement on meals and lodging. This amendment that I have would essentially more or less keep that section of the bill dealing with lodging, maybe change some of the wording around a little bit, but essentially Ledge Council would be determining what the lodging rate is. We would also address mileage. We would remove the cap on mileage. So for those who make more than one trip a week here, would get full mileage reimbursement for their time coming to Augusta. I'm blanking on the rest of it, but I believe those are the high points. It would not go into effect until the 1/31st. Did I encompass everything in that? Or if I didn't, I sincerely apologize. If Lynn could bring it up. Just because I'm trying to look at 3 screens, but I believe that's the gist of it. And that would be a counter proposal as a way to address some of the broader issues of concern that folks have. We did also we took out the section about getting compensated $250 a week during a state of emergency. Took that out as well, and just focused on some of the fringe benefits that folks have had. And I believe that's covering the whole thing. Did I cover it all?
Will, there was a portion about lodging reimbursement showing evidence.
I had my hand up to address that.
That is not actually in the language, but we can certainly, that's not in the language as pre-drafted language that we had presented, but that certainly would be a point that if folks want to discuss that, I think that would be a good friendly amendment to add to it. So, but just for Lynn's sake, if she could just reiterate, cover everything that, if I missed anything in the language that's in there, that would be fantastic. And we go from there.
Thank you, Representative Toole. No, I think you hit it all. This draft does not show you what's different from LD 1680. It just shows you what Representative Toole's amendment would do, and that is it clarifies that mileage is paid while you are traveling to and from sessions and or committee meetings, that there's no cap on mileage. Again, this language is all just saying that the meal allowance, the lodging, and the mileage all apply not just for legislative sessions, but clarifies that also duly authorized committee assignments which is in parts of this bill. So that means committee meetings. It ties the mileage 44 cents per mile to the bargaining agreements, which is what it is currently. And it includes the portion of 1680 about lodging being based on the average rate.
Great. And I know Senator Rosen had her hand up and she wants to explain the additional that we talked about in our caucus this morning. I think that would be great.
Senator Rosen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only thing I would add about lodging is showing a receipt of how much you paid and that you actually did spend the night. Because I know a lot of people in the past have checked that they spent the night to get the money for that and didn't actually spend the night. So I would like to show a receipt and then get reimbursed for that.
Okay. Okay. I totally get that. Representative Toole.
And I would just add to that, we also discussed that rulemaking around that would be set by Ledge Council, that we should not have, we don't need to really hash that out today, but we could let Ledge Council determine what proof consists of and how often they require it and things like that. So we could just give them that authority in this legislation, but stipulate that there has to be proof shown.
Okay. With regard to some of the dollar amounts, I know that in the previous session, in the 129th, that state and local government had come up with an amendment that actually did away with it included language that allowed for the setting of meal allowances and so forth by the Ledge Council so that you could drop the $32 or the what was the other one? Yeah, anyways, the dollar amount for the meal allowance and allow that to be set at the Ledge Council also so that it could stay current and not rely on state and local government having to come back every once in a while to update a dollar amount. And that I would be interested in including that kind of a language in the bill so that we avoid something like that. Representative Toole?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I thought about it. We internally had not discussed that, but certainly I had thought about that and thought it might be a good idea. I don't see where it would be a deal breaker. Certainly could, if others are on board with it, I would make that change as well.
Okay, I'm just trying to see where I can see where you're coming from on all of this. Are there any other questions from members of the committee with regard to Representative Toole's amendment to this bill? Representative Copeland?
So my understanding is that they don't want to change the rate paid. And that was a big issue, getting younger people and different people involved more in local government. So I like all the other adjustments. I mean, certainly I think that those are all reasonable, but I don't think that we should pass on this opportunity to get younger people and other people involved in state government. So I do think that we should have an increase in pay for those people.
Okay, thank you. So you would recommend keeping the language from Senator Mearmont's bill with regard to compensation?
I would.
All right. Do we have any other comments with regard to the bill itself or Representative Toole's amendment to that bill? Was there a reason for deleting the salary increase, Representative Toole? I think you're on mute, sir.
the salary increase is not something where there is universal or even broad agreement. And it is at a time when people are struggling with the pandemic to vote a salary increase degenerates the discussion that dominates everything. We have never been able to crack that nut, so to speak. And we should be moving forward on things that we agree on. And I think were it not for the pandemic hitting 2 years ago, we would have had something, this or something very close to it, absent the salary, in the final product, and we would already be getting these rates. The pandemic really wrecked everything as far as the discussion went. And I would hate to see us lose the rest of this. I know I'm rambling a bit, but even when Representative Barry spoke to his bill, he believed this needed to be bipartisan, and it really does, because if we're not all buying into it, then it is going to be a finger pointing contest. And honestly, I think we get enough of that going on. We don't need any more of it where we can avoid it. And I would say we ought to just go to the things we agree on, try to get a unanimous report out of this, try to get funding through appropriations, and take it step at a time and go from there. And keeping in mind also that Representative Bailey and Senator Stewart are also looking at the compensation issue in their study commission more longer term, that might be a more appropriate way to look at that. So I would say I'm for setting it aside, and I think we would all be for setting that aside and just dealing with the rest of this, at least those in my caucus.
Thank you. Representative Copeland?
I would request that we have a corner caucus on this.
Okay. We'll have a quick chat if you folks don't mind. We're going to take about a 15-minute break. We'll be back a little after 10:30. Okay, thank you.
And if Republicans, if you guys want a caucus, we can. If not, we're just get up and take a break.
All right, we'll be back in 15 minutes.
Senator Rosen. As a side note, I didn't mean to cut you off during the last discussion, but when she's screen sharing, I couldn't get to my buttons.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, we're going to take an extra minute or two. One or two of my committee members want to grab another cup of coffee, and as soon as they get here, we'll get going on the committee again.
Sounds good.
I know nobody in Elk Point, South Dakota. Why are they calling me?
Your car warranty is about to expire.
Yeah, my favorite was when I looked at my phone, it said Penn Bay Hospital, which is my local hospital. I thought, oh, what's up? I hadn't been to the doctor or anything. I picked it up. It's like, your warranty has expired. It's like, no, I'm going to expire.
Oh. Can we take a 5-minute break of our own? I've had a request.
Sure.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Yeah, we'll just keep extending this break a little bit longer.
I mean, I'm sorry to do this way, but I've had a request, so I think I want to honor that. So,
Okay, another 5 minutes, that's fine.
yep. We can. Now it's going to take me 5 minutes. It may take me 5 minutes to get the Zoom link up, so we'll see. Does anybody have it open?
I have it open.
Representative, you folks are on live screen right now.
Yeah, I know.
I keep trying to turn you off and you keep turning me on.
There we go. I got my video situation squared up. So
Okay. Let's see. Are we mostly all back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us. I believe Representative Bryant had to leave us for transportation. And Senator Baldacci will be along at some point. He had something to take care of this morning. So if we could get back to our discussion about LD 1680. This was the bill that Representative Toole had prepared an amendment for. My comment on Representative Toole's amendment is that I would really like to incorporate the language from the 129th, that instead of directing a dollar amount for meal and housing allowances, et cetera, that the language instead be set by the Legislative Council, so that we don't have to worry about dollar amounts every year and whether they're appropriate or not, and let Leg Council do that. Other than that, are there any other comments with regard to Representative Toole's amendment? Representative Toole?
thank you, Madam Chair. And just to add to that, we had Senator Rosen's amendment as a friendly amendment as well, to require proof that also be built in. I think we have the basis of a good agreement. To be quite honest, we're not interested. There's not a lot of support. There's life support, if you will, for a salary increase. And I think we leave that on the side. With that, I would make a motion of ought to pass as amended with the amendments that you've outlined, that I've outlined, that Senator Rosen has outlined.
Thank you very much, sir. Are there any other comments or questions regarding this?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much, sir. Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree that we should get this part of the issue passed, and I'm going to vote for it. But I'm not going to ever let go of the fact that we need younger people. And particularly during the pandemic, we've seen people more and more involved in the government. And I know that there's other work in the pipeline on the salary increases, and I stand by the need for that. But in the here and now, I'm going to vote yes to get this part of that initiative forward.
Thank you very much. Are there any other comments for us this morning? Representative Toole. I'm sorry, Cheryl trumps you, Representative Toole. Cheryl?
Hello. Are we doing LD 974 or 1680?
1680.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Representative Toole.
And I do want to say that I appreciate Representative Copeland's comments, and I certainly understand that. And I think that was one of the reasons we did put that in the study, to look at going forward, the bigger issues, the systemic issues of how to improve the legislature. So, and I don't expect that she or anybody else should ever give up on something they truly believe in, but I think coming to consensus is important, and if we can do it, then we should do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have now amended 1680. We're ready to proceed. Cheryl, if you could call the roll, please.
Yes. LD 1680 ought to pass as amended. Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Yes.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, yes. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
Yes.
Representative William Toole, yes. Representative Mark Bryant, absent. Representative Randall Greenwood.
Yes.
Representative Randall Greenwood, yes. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, yes. Representative Donna Dorr.
Yes.
Representative Donna Dorr, yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
Yes.
Representative Kathy Downs, yes. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. 9 yes, 4 absent.
Thank you all very much. We'll now take up LD 974. Do I have a motion on LD 974? Representative Greenwood.
I'd move ought not to pass.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second for that?
I'll second.
Thank you, Representative Toole. We have an ought not to pass on LD 974. Is there any further discussion on this? There being none, Lynn, if you could call the roll, please.
LD 974, Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Yes.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, yes. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
Yes.
Representative William Toole, yes. Representative Mark Bryant, absent. Representative Randall Greenwood.
Yes.
Representative Randall Greenwood, yes. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, yes. Representative Donna Dorr.
Yes.
Representative Donna Dorr, yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
Yes.
Representative Kathy Downs, yes. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. 9 yes, 4 absent.
Thank you very much. Let me see, where's my little list that I had?
Should be 446 next.
I think so.
Hey.
I had my list right here. There it is. Yes, please. LD 446, an act to reestablish the State Planning Office. Representative Bailey.
Right in.
Good morning, Representative Bailey. Welcome back.
Morning. It's good to be with you.
Thank you. I understand that we have an amendment for this, Lynn?
Yes, Madam Chair. Would you like me to screen share it now or?
Please,
after?
if you could do that and let us know what we're going to be doing with this bill.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the amendment, as Representative Bailey asked, and I just want to make sure we were working on this just recently. This amendment would establish a commission to research and recommend solutions for regional and municipal planning. And you may recall during the public hearing on this bill and another on the same day, there was quite a bit of discussion about regional and municipal planning. So this establishes, oh no, I don't have the right amendment up, do I, Representative Bailey? Do I?
Yeah, yes, that's right.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry. We literally worked on this morning. So this commission consists of 15 members, 4 members from the Senate, including the 2 parties, 4 from the House, including the 2 largest parties, a municipal planner, a regional planner, a planning professional from the private sector, representatives from DOT, the Office of Policy Innovation in the Future, Department of Economic and Community Development, and the Department of Environmental Protection. The rest of this bill follows what a commission legislative study under the joint rules normally look like, which is chaired by the first selected Senate member and the first selected House member, appointments being made within 30 days, a convening of the commission, request, even if all appointments haven't been made within those 30 days, can be made to the Legislative Council. Staffing, I'll just skip, I'm skipping ahead, but staffing, as is usual under the joint rules, is through the nonpartisan staff. And these are the duties of this commission, which I will let you, I guess I'll read it in case you can't see it very well. Research and recommend solutions to promote, coordinate, and provide direct support for comprehensive and sustainable municipal and regional plannings. Strategies, collaboration, shared resources are a focus. The commission will be holding a public hearing to get feedback from stakeholders, and the stakeholders are identified, municipal county officials, community and economic development professionals, real estate, health, public health, natural resources, and land trust. And the commission reports back to this committee by December 31st of 2022. And then the committee would have the ability to suggest legislation at that time. So I'll go back up to the duties and or the members if people want me to, so you can see that a bit more, or take it down at your direction.
Okay, does anybody else need to see the language any further? I think we can take it down for now, please. Representative Bailey, would you like to explain to us about your suggestion for this resolve?
Sure, I'll be very brief. Obviously, I think we've heard, you heard at the public hearing from many people in planning and who are impacted by the planning process that our state lacks planning resources and support and coordination. And we actually heard from Director Pingree that while the governor's office did not support bringing back the state planning office in some variation, and I'm sort of on board with that idea that we don't need to necessarily bring back the state planning office in any way, shape, or form what it looked like before, but that there are gaps in our infrastructure, and that we need to take the time to identify where those gaps are and bring stakeholders to the table to have that conversation and understand if we're doing big, bold things like a 10-year economic development strategy and a climate change plan and trying to address the opioid epidemic and all the wonderful policy that I think is coming out from that Director Pingree and her team, the governor's office out of GoPIF are working on, and others within the administration and collaborating with on the legislature, that there are some gaps and holes in our infrastructure, and we need to bring those stakeholders together to understand, identify where those are and how we bridge those gaps and do this work in the most efficient and effective ways. So we're not being duplicative in some areas. If there's something happening in one part of the state that folks in the other part of the state know about it, and there's sharing of best practices. And there's a lot of different issues on the table here that, I think as someone who's worked in the nonprofit sector for a long time and in and around government, you got to plan to plan. And so, if you've got a big ideas, you want to proceed forward, and we've got some big challenges as a state we need to tackle, and we need to pursue those. There are underlying structural pieces that we've got to get right and understand and map that out so that we are being as efficient and effective as we can and moving those pieces forward. Because if we don't, I fear we will fall short of our goals, whether it's creating prosperity for Maine people or tackling climate change or addressing the opioid epidemic. And what I'm trying to achieve here with this resolve is to bring together those stakeholders, have that conversation, identify where those planning gaps exist, and start to map out a plan for how we address that the governor in her updated budget has 3 new planning positions. I think that's great. We obviously know there's a need for more planning support. But I think simply adding additional staff without a roadmap for what the planning process looks like from a state, regional, local level in terms of supporting all that infrastructure and how you tie that together is the missing piece that I'm trying to achieve with this conversation. So I appreciate your analyst support, and we were working last night and into this morning to with some feedback from the governor's office to try to make some changes to this, and appreciate the thoughtful consideration of this committee for addressing some of these needs that I think folks recognize exist, but it's just a matter of trying to figure out how best to go about resolving this.
Oh, thank you. Representative Copeland, you have a question.
Yes, thank you for working on this, all of you. That's it's really important. I think planning is often understated, the need for it. So my question is, with the list of people who you want on that committee, it seems finite, and I'm concerned that you might get into this process and see a need to have somebody else, and then the law isn't in your favor. So I would propose amending it to include as others, with a 2/3 vote of the committee or commission or whatever you're calling yourself, that you could add other interested stakeholders, because you don't know what you're going to find until you find it. So if you find somebody that you feel would be an integral part of this process, that you would have the availability of getting them on board.
Okay. Representative Bailey, did you want to respond to the idea of people participating on this commission?
Yes, Madam Chair, I appreciate the sentiment, Representative Copeland, and totally agree with you. The challenge is working within the structure of the joint rules around what a legislative commission can and can't do and what its membership can be. This is as a freshman like yourself, I'm learning this process as well. I had originally thought that perhaps a sort of task force housed within an executive agency might be the route to go, but I got some pushback from the governor's office about doing that, the sense that there was some sense of being overwhelmed with the existing what's on their plate, and that perhaps it would be best to have the legislature explore this conversation. And so that's why this is a legislative commission study, not a sort of task force within an executive agency like a GOPIF or a DECD. And therefore, my understanding from Ms. Caswell and the joint rules is that basically it needs to be a majority of folks who are legislators. So I've tried to craft it in that way, but also incorporate public hearing language that I think as the process comes together, being very intentional about bringing those people in. And just because there are a clear set of stakeholders at the table that are identified in the bill does not mean there aren't a much broader set of stakeholders who are part of the conversation and shaping that conversation. So I think there's a balance to strike there with meeting the joint rules while also bringing in all those voices that need to be a part of this, because there's a lot of people who also want to participate in this conversation. So it's an opportunity for a real robust, exciting conversation to address these issues because people are passionate about this.
Well, thank you very much. And I appreciate the learning curve that we're both on. So thank you.
Terrific. Lynn, comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I appreciate that Representative Bailey actually heard my little tutorial this morning on what the joint rules say. It's always good to be heard. I just want to remind the committee that you cannot withstand the joint rules. It's done quite frequently. And membership on a commission is an area that usually is the legislative council is usually flexible on that.
Okay. Are you're saying that we can invoke notwithstanding as opposed to inserting the language in there, that we're all set as the language in the amendment is.
Yes, let me rephrase it. What I was saying is, if the committee is interested in having Representative Copeland's idea of flexibility, you could say notwithstanding the joint rules, and then add a line at the end of the membership that said, by 2/3 vote, the commission can invite new people. So you can do it if you want to.
Okay, well, I think that Representative Bailey has come up with a great framework right now, and that he appears to be rather flexible in who he would like to participate, not necessarily be formal members of the commission, but I think that might be, I think we're okay where we are, Representative Copeland. Are we going to be okay with the membership as it is?
Yes, yes, I believe that Representative Bailey has this under control. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Representative Toole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have many reservations about this. I don't doubt the intent of those putting it forward, but the biggest reservation is philosophical. Well, there's several, but one of the philosophical issues is that towns, municipalities, groups of regions, if you will, can already get together and work collaboratively. I don't think they necessarily need something like this. We have councils of governments, and I know several councils of governments are on board with that. One of the concerns with this, though, is that it could, in areas, in places where things are viewed differently, in places where people don't necessarily embrace the concept of a one-size-fits-all regional plan type of arrangement, I just don't see the buy-in, and I don't think we're going to see the buy-in, and have great major reservations with that, and we'll be voting against, but I certainly appreciate folks' willingness to move it away from yet another expansion of state government.
Thank you, Representative Toole. I've been a proponent of the state planning office for a number of years, and I miss it. I thought it provided a resource for municipalities and county governments across the state. And it was the place you could go for help in certain areas, and I think we lack that. I don't want to necessarily recreate the state planning office in its past form, but I believe that we need something like this at the state level, so that we can, or in some way that can be accessed by municipalities and county governments across the state. So we have a resource for planning and sharing of information. So I think this is a great opportunity to see what those resources currently are, where our gaps are, and how we can work more closely across the state in providing these services as they're needed, as they're wanted in various areas. So Representative Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is not a compulsory.
This is a study.
Right.
Would you like to make a motion on this?
I move on to pass.
Thank you. As amended.
As amended.
Thank you. Do we have a second on Representative Copeland's motion to pass? Representative Dorr seconds the motion. Any further comments, Representative Copeland? You all set? All right. Yeah. Do we have any further comments on establishing establishing this commission to look at what we need in the way of regional, municipal, local help with planning? There being none, Cheryl, if you could call the roll, please.
Yes. LD 446 ought to pass as amended. Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
No.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, no. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Tool.
No.
Representative William Tool, no. Representative Mark Bryant. Absent. Representative Randall Greenwood.
No.
Representative Randall Greenwood, no. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
No.
Representative Francis Head, no. Representative Donna Dorr.
Yes.
Representative Donna Dorr, yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
No.
Representative Kathy Downs, no. Representative Lynn Copeland.
You're on mute.
Yes.
Thank you.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. 4 ought to pass as amended. 5, Representative Tool,
Yeah, ought not to pass.
ought not to pass. And 4, absent.
Okey doke. Thank you, Representative Bailey, for coming by. We appreciate your effort on this and especially Lynn's effort too, to come up with this resolve in a timely fashion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next up is our bill on, excuse me. Let's see.
357.
Yes.
375. Sorry.
375, an act to create greater accountability in the office of county sheriff. Let me send a note over to Senator Baldacci. I know he wanted to participate in this. He had been working on an amendment with the sheriffs and with Senator Keim. So I wanted him to be here to discuss this with us. Let's see if how he's doing in transportation. All right. So Lynn, why don't we, do we want to take a break or shall we just move forward with discussion of this? And then we can have hopefully Senator Baldacci will be available to pop in the not too distant future. Representative Toole?
I think if there's an appetite for dealing with this, there needs to be a motion to reconsider first.
Okay, certainly. Is there a motion to reconsider this?
So moved.
Representative Copeland and seconded by Representative Dorr.
Point of order.
So, yes, sir.
Do we, not that I just want to be clear, can we, do we determine who voted on what side? So who can make the motion to reconsider? I think the
Okay.
senator indicated Representative Copeland couldn't. So I think the motion would have to come from somebody else.
Okay.
I believe
Okay,
you're
well,
right.
so we'll have Representative Dorr were you there to vote on that side?
I
Cheryl,
believe
do you have the-
Representative Dorr could make the
I do
motion.
have the paper if you'd like me to let you know.
Yes, please. Is
Yeah.
Representative Dorr can make the motion?
She can. Well, she
Okay.
voted for ought not to pass.
Which was the prevailing side.
Correct. Correct.
All right. And then do I have a second from the prevailing side also? I'll second it because I think I was on the prevailing side also.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So thank you, sir. So we'll take up this bill. I know that Representative Toole,
I think we should have a roll call.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And yeah, roll call for, okay. Roll call for
Considering.
reconsideration. Okay. Go ahead, if you would please, Cheryl.
Yep, LD 375 to reconsider. Senator Joseph Baldacci, absent. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
No.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, no. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
No.
Representative William Toole, no. Representative Mark Bryant, absent. Representative Randall Greenwood.
No.
Representative Randall Greenwood, no. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
No.
Representative Francis Head, no. Representative Donna Dorr.
Yes.
Representative Donna Dorr, yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
No.
Representative Kathy Downs, no. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. That's 4 yes to reconsider, 5 no to reconsider, and 4 absent.
Okay. So we can't reconsider this bill.
Right.
Okay. We will set this aside and we will close our work sessions. And we will move to a discussion of our list of bills for carrying over. Lynn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to, so the presiding officers have instructed committees to let them know by today on the bills they wish to carry over. They have set a limit on 10% of the bills referred. SLG has had 92 bills referred in the special session. So you can carry over 9. A request beyond that, well, I'm not going to ask that. I'm not going to answer that question because as I share my screen, I've shared my screen to show you the 9 bills that are up for discussion today for reconsideration. And I put a brief summary of the reason I believe you are reconsidering. LD 379 is the Maine State Cemetery Commission. Anyways, those are the bills. I just want to give you an overview and give you a second to look at them all. And then I believe if you go through each of them to vote on whether or not to carry them over, I think that's the usual process. And I just spilled coffee in my lap, so.
Oh.
So
Representative Toole?
I don't know mechanically how we want to work this. If it would be best to take them all off the table, but if that would be the case, I would make the motion to take them all off the table and we deal with each of them one by one.
I'll second that.
And Cheryl, would you like me to read the numbers to you so you know which ones the vote for taking off the table applies to?
Yeah.
Or you already have that list?
Well, I do not have that list, but usually I don't keep a vote on that. I just make sure that it's unanimous.
Well, why don't I'm just gonna jump in,
Okay.
Madam Chair, and just officially read the numbers.
Okay.
It's LD 379, LD 383, LD 408, LD 859, LD 895, LD 1187, LD 1513, and LD 1610.
And 1658. Oh, those are the ones that we don't care about. 1658. Is that on our list?
Those weren't tabled, I don't think.
That wasn't tabled.
No.
Okay.
And 1658.
Oh, right, that hasn't
yeah.
come over. 1658 hasn't come over yet.
No, 1658 has come over.
Okay.
And yes, you're correct. And 1658.
Okay.
We did table that earlier this morning.
But that one wasn't tabled, so.
Right, because it had, when we were discussing public hearings for today, it had not been, it had not come over from the Senate, right?
No, that was 1387. 1387, the
Oh.
immigration bill has
Okay,
not.
gotcha.
Yeah, so that's a
Okay,
different.
gotcha. All right. Oh, yeah, okay. Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we could actually carry over all the bills that are on our list. Is that what Lynn said? up to 9.
Yes, yes.
So at this point, are we going to discuss each bill to see what we're going to carry over, or could we just carry over everything?
Yeah. Representative Tool?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I think we generally agree to carry them over. There's one or two that might have a caveat that also have additional requests that go with the carryover. So that's why I was suggesting doing each of them separately. It's not that we're going to pick and choose what's the carryover and which not.
Why don't we pick out the ones that are a little bit more complicated and not and discuss and bring those up for discussion, and
Cool.
the ones that we're just going to carry over, we can carry over.
Yep. So I think
Representative Greenwood?
Just want to make sure we haven't voted to take them off the table yet.
No, we're just talking about them.
so we did take them off.
Do we need to take them off the table to talk about them?
That
Okay.
was the motion.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Your motion was to take them off the table, all of them?
Yeah.
Do we need to do them individually? Nope. Okay. So the motion is to take them all off the table from Representative Tool and seconded by Representative Dorr. So all those in favor of taking all the bills off the table? Unanimous. Okay, Representative Tool, was there any bill in particular that was a little bit more complicated that you wanted to bring to our attention?
Well, I know 1513 has a subcommittee request to attach with it, so that's going to be a little more involved. Certainly, I think the rest of them, we had more or less informally agreed that we were going to carry over, and we had agreed this one as well. But there's a subcommittee request with it, so I'm not sure if there are others that others had, but I believe. And 1650, I just didn't know, but it might be good for Lynn to review with us on each of them what the rationale was as we go through it. So that was why I suggested doing them separately.
All right. Lynn, a quick Tracy on what we're carrying over.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the first one is LD 379, which is the Cemetery Commission. And you'll recall that the purpose of the carryover is to give more time to find a home for the Cemetery Commission, a state agency to oversee the work. LD 383, which is the Small Wireless Facilities Bill that just came to you, you'll recall a need for more time to flesh out a draft for the public to comment upon. LD 408 and is a concept draft that was a placeholder bill that amend the laws regulating the operation of the legislature. So that was to be carried over in case the committee wanted to have a vehicle to work. Then there's LD 859, which is the ranked choice voting in municipal elections. The sponsor, Representative Barry, asked for more time to work with interested parties. LD 895 is another concept draft placeholder. It's an act to make necessary changes to state law. And I didn't say that Representative Dunphy is the sponsor for the two placeholders. So again, a placeholder to give the committee a vehicle next session. LD 1187 is proposing an amendment to the Constitution regarding the governor's pardon powers. And this was to allow the sponsor, Representative Martin, the ability to participate in the public hearing and the work session on that one.
I did chat with Representative Martin, and he would like it if we could please just hold it over till January. He still would like to work on this bill. I mean, he would still like to present this bill to us, but not until January.
And then there's number 8 is a LD 1513, and that is the maintenance of discontinued roads bill that the committee is going to discuss a subcommittee on. And number 9 is anyways, the next one is LD 1610, which was Representative Talbot Ross's bill, and that was to promote equity in policymaking by enhancing the state's ability to collect, analyze, and apply data. And that was a concept draft, and she wanted more time to flesh out that bill. And the last one was LD 1658, which is Representative Lochner's bill on campaign finance transparency and accountability in municipal elections. And that one was just referred on Wednesday.
That looked a bit more complicated than hearing it today and dealing with it on Monday or Wednesday. So I think carrying it over because it's a bit of a complicated bill that came to us very late in the session. Representative Greenwood?
On that last bill we just mentioned, does that make it bill number 10? And are we only allowed 9?
No, it made it bill number 9. So when I said I was up to number 8, I was actually only up to number 7. So
okay,
wait.
thank you.
Thanks. Senator Baldacci, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry I was caught up in transportation for a while, and I appreciate being back here. So
we are talking about the bills to be carried over.
Oh, okay.
And we were just, Lynn had just gone through the list of the 9 bills that we have, including 2 that are placeholders that are not.
Madam Chair, why don't you just continue as you were, and I can.
Okay.
So that
sounds
would be
good.
more efficient that way.
Thanks. So we have these 9 bills. Our maximum limit is 9, and 2 of them are placeholder bills. So we're only really asking to hold over 7. Is that it? So seeing that we only have the 7 bills to hold over, I think that works out well. And any further discussion about the 7 bills, 7 of our bills that we are holding over, Representative Toole?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would make a motion to carry them all over, except for 1513, which we're going to discuss more on in a couple minutes. All but 1513. And yeah, I would make that motion to carry the other 6 over and discuss 1513.
Okay. And there was a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion on all the bills except 1513? Lynn?
Just to clarify, LD 408 and LD 895, which are the placeholders, they are not part of the carryover vote?
They're included in the list.
Okay.
I mean, we will be carrying them over, yes.
Okay, so you're voting on
all 9 of them?
All
Well,
8.
except all 8.
Yes.
And 1513, right.
Thank you.
Senator Baldacci?
Thank you. Is 1658 in that carryover list?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yes, it
I
is.
just want to make sure. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. And we'll be carrying over all but 1513, and we would just chat. Representative Toole, you wanted to chat about that one real quick?
Yes, I do, but I'm certainly for carrying it over. We just need to, there's going to be a subcommittee request with it. So I just figured we ought to deal with these first and then deal with that separately.
Okay. Okay, so we're voting on the 8 bills to carry over. Any further comments about these 8 bills? All those in favor of carrying over these 8 bills? One roll call, it's unanimous.
No.
And so LD 1513. Representative Toole?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Right. In carrying this one over, which I'm totally for, the idea was that we would form a subcommittee to work over the summer or interim. Lynn has gotten some information on that. As longtime members will recall, we had a subcommittee 2 years ago. Well, we had 2 of them actually. So it entailed a request to the presiding officers. I'm blanking at this particular moment who the members were, but I believe the chairs solicited volunteers I know I've solicited volunteers on my side, and Representative Downs and I are raising our hands to volunteer. I don't know if you folks have 3 folks that are willing to be a part of it, but I would think that that needs to be part of the request for a subcommittee and our carryover with it.
Okay. Correct. I know that Representative Copeland had volunteered earlier. So you're still interested in participating in this, Representative Copeland?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Then I need 2 more people. I'm happy to volunteer myself to be on this, if only for the learning process. So I will do that. And I like 1 more person. We're missing several Ds today. Oh, Representative Bryant's back just in time to be volunteered. But but Representative Bryant, we're talking about LD 1513. This is the bill to require the maintenance of a discontinued public road that provides the sole access to 1 or more residences. We will be carrying it over, but we're looking to create a subcommittee, which is part of the reason that we will be carrying this over, to look into this issue more deeply. Representative Copeland and I have volunteered, along with Representative Toole and Representative Downs. Do we need a senator, or is that an issue? Lynn?
I had Representative Toole and Senator Rosen. Did I get that wrong? Did I volunteer you, Senator Rosen?
I think you must have.
I am sorry. So to answer the question, Representative Matlack, there is no requirement in the rule that there be a senator on the committee.
Okay. Is there anybody else? Representative Bryant, Representative Reisman, Representative Dorr, who might be interested in serving on this subcommittee over the summer regarding discontinued roads? I'm seeing shaking heads all over the place. So I will reach out to Representative Paulus and see if he might be able to participate. I'm trying to think of who else might be there. Yes, Representative Greenwood?
I mean, I had, when Representative Toole asked if I was interested, my answer was no. And I know that's it's a partisan, but if you can't find somebody on your side that would do it, I reluctantly would do it, but I did not want to volunteer initially.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So let me see if I of the other 2 gentlemen who are not here, to see if one of them might be interested in participating in this. So yes, Senator Baldacci. You're on mute, sir. You're on mute, Senator Baldacci.
Okay. Did you, I apologize. I know this is not probably germane, but did you already do the sheriff bill?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay. What does that mean?
Lynn, if you can explain.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So there was a vote to reconsider the bill so that it could be discussed, and that vote failed. 4 voted to reconsider and 5 voted not to reconsider.
Oh, okay. I can record my vote. Oh, can I record my vote? No.
I
was in the minority with Representative Copeland.
Right.
So I don't get to vote?
You do. It was to the vote to reconsider. The motion had to be made and it's seconded by people on the prevailing side.
Oh, okay.
So we were able to do that.
Oh, okay.
But in voting to reconsider, there were 5 no's.
Okay,
and
so
4 yeses.
Okay, so I would add my vote to the yes to reconsider.
Is that allowable at this point, or do we need to ask to?
So I don't know the answer of if it's allowable, but if you allowed it, it would be a tie vote, and so then the vote would fail. Anyways.
And then Representative Bryant is also here.
Oh, you could always, to alleviate this, someone could make another motion to reconsider 375, and you could vote it again. That would be the cleanest from from my perspective.
Okay. People on the prevailing side, that would be me. I would make a motion to reconsider.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
We're still discussing another matter and
Okay, that's fine. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's why I said it wasn't germane, but we can come back to it. I just want to know what happened, that's all.
Okay,
But yes,
you're
we can
absolutely
come
right.
back to it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I got distracted. My apologies.
That's all right. That's all right.
So we still have LD 1513. I will inquire of Representative Paulus and Senator Claxton if either one of them are interested, and then get back in touch with Representative Greenwood should neither one of them be interested. Is that acceptable for now? Thank you. Okay, so can we vote on 1513 and carrying it over? May I have a motion to carry this one over?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of carrying this over? Thank you. That's a unanimous vote. Okay, now I would like to reconsider LD 375, an act to create greater accountability in the Office of County Sheriff. Representative Bryant.
Second that motion.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to reconsider 375. Senator Baldacci.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We need to vote to reconsider.
Yep, okay. Oh, okay.
Okay. Yep. So if
Never
we could, all those in, Cheryl will call the roll on reconsidering.
LD 375, reconsider. Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
No.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, no. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
No.
Representative William Toole, no. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
no.
Representative Randall Greenwood, no. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
No.
Representative Francis Head, no. Representative Donna Dorr.
Yes.
Representative Donna Dorr, yes. Representative Walter Reisman.
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
No.
Representative Kathy Downs, no. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. 6 yes, 5 no, and 2 absent.
Thank you. So Lynn, I believe, should we get Senator Baldacci to talk about his amendment, or?
I think that would be great. And I know that Sheriff Troy Morton and Rebecca Graham are in the waiting area if the committee has questions for them.
Certainly. Thank you. If we could bring them both over, that would be really great, because I'm sure we want to hear from Sheriff Morton. So Senator Baldacci, your amendment?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I would just indicate that after we had voted last time, this has been an issue, obviously it's ongoing, and I think Senator Keim had picked up the issue because of what had happened in Oxford County. And so I spent some time working on this with both Senator Keim and with the Maine Sheriff's Association to try to see if we could have a bill that provides something in the statute that would have an oversight provision. So I want to thank Sheriff Morton, who I worked with closely on this, and appreciate the Sheriff's Association. And I spoke to Senator Keim yesterday and shared this with her, and she's supportive of having this passed. And so I feel that we have a mechanism, hopefully, to pass to at least have a sheriff oversight bill, really to address something that's really been void or vague in the statutes. So I present that as a way to move this debate forward. Thank you. I will make a motion ought to pass as amended with that amendment.
Thank you. Yes, Lynn.
I just want to let you know, Madam Chair, that I do have a draft of the amendment that Senator Baldacci is talking about, and I'm happy to screen share it if the committee would like to see it.
That would be great. Is there a second for this motion, or? That's fine. Francis, did you make a second?
No, I
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Representative Dorr did. Thank you. Representative Dorr, did you second the motion? Thank you.
Thank you.
So yes, Lynn, if you could screen share and explain to us what this the amendment looks like.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So this amendment, the first provision is new language. So currently, section 441, removal of sheriff, has the second section. The first section specifies that pursuant to the Constitution, whenever the governor, upon complaint, due notice, and hearing, finds that a sheriff is not faithfully or efficiently performing any duties imposed, the governor may remove said sheriff. This language is directly out of the Constitution, so it's included here, I believe, as just kind of a setting up what this talks about. The second section, complaint by county sheriffs, is currently in law. The one change that is the original bill 375 added additional language in here. That has been removed. So the only additional word in here that Senator Baldacci has added, I believe, is the commissioners may file a timely complaint. So that is just adding one word to this section, which is currently in law. The next section, which is all new, is lays out what the complaint must include. And I should step back and say, section 2 gives the county commissioners the ability to file a complaint, does not require it. The requirements in the complaint are the sheriff's name, term of office, political affiliation. That's important because the governor is supposed to appoint based on the political affiliation of the current sheriff. The complaint would need a detailed description of the allegations, including what is that legal duty that the sheriff allegedly breached, a description of any emergency circumstances that might require a suspension of the sheriff, a vote of the county commissioners requesting this because a majority vote is needed. The next one, a certified transcript of the board's proceedings against the sheriff. And then the complaint must be filed with the sheriff and proof of service filed with the governor. I did mention I sent an email to Senator Baldacci this morning. The commissioner's proceedings against the sheriff, I'm not sure that that is allowable. You may want to think about a certified transcript of the commissioner's consideration of the allegations, something that still gets to the perhaps part of the intent of Senator Baldacci, but removes this proceedings against the sheriff, because I don't believe the county commissioners have that ability. The next section is the process for emergency suspension, which is different than what was in the original bill, but does allow, first off, sets out that it must be consistent with the Constitution. And this says that upon a complaint alleging emergency circumstances and proof of service, the governor shall either, I'm sorry,
Says may.
The governor may, thank you. That's important. The governor may suspend with pay if the sheriff, and here's the condition, refuses to answer the allegations, fails to appear, or after appearing, the governor finds that the sheriff is not performing the duties imposed by law, and that there are emergency circumstances that pose a substantial risk to public safety or threat to a significant public interest. And again, the governor may immediately place the sheriff upon administrative leave. And then there's a provision for a full and final adjudication. And the sheriff has the ability to request a final hearing within 7 days. So there's a bit of due process in this language of the emergency suspension, a bit more than I think has been in the prior versions. And I believe that's the end of this amendment.
If you could take that down, maybe we could hear from Sheriff Morton with regard to his interpretation or his understanding of this amendment.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee. Thank you for having me. My name is Troy Morton. I'm the Sheriff of Penobscot County, also president of Maine Sheriff's Association. I first and foremost want to thank Senator Baldacci for the tremendous work and not only work, but respect of the office of sheriff, which to us obviously is critical. And as you know, the Maine sheriffs had originally brought language forward to the original bill's sponsor. Unfortunately, because of the process, including courts and a few other issues, it didn't seem like that pathway made sense or was actually allowable by statute. And certainly we don't want to do anything that conflicts with the Constitution. But it was clearly stated, or the mission of the sheriffs, to make sure that an appropriate path that was fair, that provided accountability, was in place, and that was our original intent. So going back over with the Maine Sheriff's Association's attorney, Jonathan Berry, and then again, tremendous work by Senator Baldacci, we did provide some new language. And I apologize because the version that I was just looking at, there does appear to be a few tweaks of language there that I'm trying to read both at the same time here, because a few things don't match, and I just want to make sure that these are one and the same documents.
Okay, I'll let you peruse, and I'll see if Representative Bryant has a question for Senator Baldacci.
Thank you.
I'm not sure I do. I would like to hear what the opposition is on the other side where I haven't been here, because I want to make sure I'm not missing something. Okay. So when the time comes, Madam Chair, I'd like to hear the other side of the story so I can help make an informed decision.
Okay. Representative Greenwood, you'd like to respond to Representative Bryant? No? Okay. Then Representative Copeland?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I applaud the work on this. It's definitely something that needs to be done, and I'm glad that it's done in a thoughtful way. One of the issues that the sponsor initially talked about was preservation of evidence, and I don't see that specifically in the language. I mean, it talks about in public interest and a couple other vague ways, but I think it should be stated that there should be an effort for preservation of evidence.
Senator Baldacci, was that part of your discussion, or is that something that should be included?
Well, I'd have to see the language. I think in terms of the original bill, I don't have the original bill in front of me as to what the language was, but I think that it would be, we could potentially include under the county commissioners proceedings, since they control the county, about making sure that all county records are preserved. But I think that would be that's an unstated power of theirs anyway, but I don't have a problem having it stated.
I would like it stated. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Representative Toole?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Bryant wanted to hear some of the opposition. I know this bill has a long, tortured, fraught, use whatever adjective you want, history with it. And sure enough, since even the amendment is barely out and we're already adding and twisting adding and changing and tinkering, which I realize we do with every bill. But this whole thing, opening it up again and again and again, I just think we've gone as far as we can go with this. And it's not, I think there's a solution in search of a problem. And we're trying to legislate for an isolated incident here. And while I certainly appreciate everyone's willingness to try, anything short of a constitutional amendment is probably not going to fix the issue, because we're going to keep coming back and hacking this around. I think we pretty much know, just with the vote on reconsidering, where a lot of the appetite is on this. And it may be better in some ways than it was, but I don't think this is going to, I think this is going to be a very turbulent, very bumpy process, and one that could have some unintended consequences, especially if yet more amendments are made, more tweaks are made, more additions are made. So I'm not for the pending motion. Maybe we'll see where it lands, but I didn't feel warm and fuzzy about it in first place. But I guess if folks are gonna vote it, then I guess that's what it will be. But I can't say I'm warm and fuzzy with it.
Thank you. Representative Greenwood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would concur with some of the comments from the Representative Toole. I think we've gone as far as we can with this bill. I don't find an appetite of laying out a process for something that, there is constitutional authority and a process set forth in the Constitution to resolve. I would agree with the statement that we are in search of a solution for a problem that's not there. I would concur that if the reference was to the Oxford County Sheriff, which was mentioned, that was an isolated incident. The sheriff is a constitutional officer, and this last minute amendment that we're looking about, there's a lot to review. We got to figure out if this falls under Labor Rule 80B, Rule 80C. There's a lot to deal with here, and I don't have any interest whatsoever with going down this road. Having been a commissioner for 8 years, there was a clear process outlined if there was an issue, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. So picking up on that topic, Representative Greenwood, so as a county commissioner, had something come to you, would you have taken up a concern with regard to how a sheriff was or was not performing his duties? Is that something that you would do or something you would never do?
I mean, the Constitution's clear that if there's something that is egregiously done, then it would, I think the process is laid out that the commissioners file a complaint to the governor. I mean, I can't speculate what the conditions might be, but if there was something very egregious, I think it would be my duty as a commissioner.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Graham from Maine Municipal has joined us. Do you have comments on this at present, or are you just are you here to hear us?
Thank you, Representative Matlack. MMA was in support of Senator Kime's bill initially, and believe that if Sheriff Morton has worked on that bill and is comfortable, he and his colleagues are comfortable, we would certainly be in support of that as well. So I don't think our position has changed in any way. We do appreciate having some sort of mechanism for accountability for the folks that do pay for those services, which they don't have a direct connection to now. However, they do with regard to their local police chiefs. So I think that if this squares that circle and the good sheriff is comfortable, we would love to clone him across all 16. But barring that, making sure that we don't have a repeat, I think, is something that Senator Keim and MMA is certainly very interested in preventing.
Thank you. Representative Bryant?
Yes, thank you. This is my 7th year on this committee, but I was around when the Oxford County deal had happened. I at that time, I didn't feel constitutionally or even there was a solution then. I don't see a solution now, so I will be voting against the pending motion.
Thank you, sir. Sheriff Morton, have you had an opportunity to compare the two, and is there significant difference between the two?
I've just sent an email to Ms. Caswell to see if I could get a copy of the one that she posted. There looks a little bit like there's a few things that are changed there, so I'm not able to do the one for one. I apologize. The only other comment that I can make is I'm a little disappointed to hear that we would try to amend this again. The Maine sheriffs were supportive, so something that directly impacts the Maine sheriffs. And we, before the original sponsor, crafted the language. And because of the process, it wasn't able to be followed through, mostly because we wanted to include the courts that allowed for a non-political process or evaluation. We understand why that can't happen. But now we're looking to add things about accusations of people allegedly destroying things. It just to me feels, it doesn't feel great to hear that, to know that we're the ones that have actually brought this through the entire thing, let alone brought it through where you set up a process. And after it was voted down, we've come back again, trying to show accountability and show a process. And now again, asking to add more to it. So a little disappointing there, but certainly understand.
Senator Baldacci. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I hear my good friend from Wyndham, Representative Bryant's comments. I would just offer whether or not, did you make a formal motion, Representative Bryant, or not? I was going to suggest if we could consider having this carried over. I know it's been worked on and worked on and worked on. It's just that I think it's important we continue this conversation one way or the other at some point. And if people feel like this is an important conversation, and I think that this would be worthy of a carryover based on the fact that I think we gotta spend, if people aren't happy right now with the bill, I would prefer having it carried over. So I will make a motion to carry it over.
That would be a tabling motion.
A tabling motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Lynn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just would say that if the committee does table LD 375 and then vote to carry it over, to request to carry over, you may want to consider taking something off of the group, because you have 9 already. If you have 10 carryover requests, you run the risk that the presiding officers will just randomly pick one to take off. So either if you send 10 to them, I would suggest you at least identify the one that you can live without. If that made sense at all.
I understand, thank you. We have no motion on the table at the time. We do have a tabling motion?
We haven't, well, we have an ought to pass as amended motion.
We have an ought to pass as amended. And we have it, and that was seconded?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Didn't Donna Dorr?
Yes, she did.
Yes, she did. So we have that motion on the table. There being no further comments on the bill, I would ask, Lynn?
I would ask if we could make a motion to table.
You would like to make a motion to table?
Yes.
Is there a second for a tabling motion?
Representative Copeland.
Yes. I will have a roll call on the tabling motion.
Mhm.
All those in favor, Cheryl, would you call the roll on the tabling motion?
Yes, I will. LD 375, tabled. Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
No.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, no. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
No.
Representative Ann Matlack, no. Representative William Toole.
No.
Representative William Toole, no. Representative Mark Bryant.
No.
Representative Mark Bryant, no. Representative Randall Greenwood.
No.
Representative Randall Greenwood, no. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
No.
Representative Francis Head, no. Representative Donna Dorr.
No.
Representative Donna Dorr, no. Representative Walter Reisman.
No.
Representative Walter Reisman, no. Representative Kathy Downs.
No.
Representative Kathy Downs, no. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. 2 yes to table and 9 no to tabling and 2 absent.
Okay. So we can move along. Sheriff Wharton, did you have an opportunity to review?
I did. Thank you, Madam Chair. There are a few discrepancies here, and it could be just some of the lines are changed, particularly under number 3. I'm not sure. There are a few there that are kind of significant.
Okay. Thank you. Are there further comments with regard to this bill? Are there any questions we need to ask? Representative Toole?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As noted before, I'll be voting against the pending motion and Representative Copeland's amendment to further amendment to the amendment. Just think we've taken this as far as we can take it, and I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Lynn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to, before you vote on the ought to pass as amended, if Representative Copeland's amendment was to give the county commissioners authority to secure the documents of the county sheriff, was that what that amendment was, Representative Copeland?
Yes, essentially.
Okay, so I don't know the answer to this, but my antenna went up about whether county commissioners have the legal authority over the records of a sheriff, a county sheriff. I'm not sure that county commissioners do have that legal authority. So I just want to raise that because I don't want a vote on a provision that may not be legal.
If we could leave that out. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Representative Coleman.
I was just saying, keeping them under lock and seal, I don't know. I just, shredding evidence is a problem. And I realize it's a one situation with that, but I think if it happened once, it could possibly happen again.
Thank you. Are there are no further comments? Then I think we'll call the vote. Cheryl?
Yes, LD 375 ought to pass as amended. I have it motioned by Senator Baldacci and seconded by Representative Dorr. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
No.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, no. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
No.
Representative Ann Matlack, no. Representative William Toole.
No.
Representative William Toole, no. Representative Mark Bryant.
No.
Representative Mark Bryant, no. Representative Randall Greenwood.
No. No.
Representative Randall Greenwood, no. Representative Sean Paulus, absent. Representative Francis Head.
No.
Representative Francis Head, no. Representative Donna Dorr.
No.
Representative Donna Dorr, no. Representative Walter Reisman.
No.
Representative Walter Reisman, no. Representative Kathy Downs.
No.
Representative Kathy Downs, no. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Yes.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. 2 ought to pass as amended. 9, is it ought not to pass?
Yes.
Yes.
And 2 absent.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for Sheriff Morton for coming by to chat with us again. We appreciate the time you've spent on this issue. We appreciate your forthrightness.
Madam Chair, may I just make a comment?
Certainly.
I do want to thank Sheriff Morton and the Maine Association of County Sheriffs. They went to bat on this and they worked very hard to get this to happen. Sorry we weren't able to pass a bill here, but I'm hopeful that we can have further discussions regarding this because I still think it's an important issue. But I just wanted to thank this Maine Association of County Sheriffs for really doing all that they could do to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn, we do have language review, don't we?
You do. I have quite a few, and as I said in my email, I will do as many as you'd like me to do today. And we do have permission. We are meeting on Monday, and we have permission to meet later. So at your discretion, committee, I can do language reviews.
Representative Toole, is your hand still up from previously, or do you have a question?
No, I don't know. I think everybody's had a long morning. I don't know if everybody's head is in language review at the moment. That isn't just, I mean, we've got to do it. I realize that, but if we have Monday, if we wind up having more days than Monday, I don't necessarily have a problem with holding off on it either. So,
how is our Monday looking, Lynn?
Monday, you have 2 work sessions scheduled on 1671, which is the security screenings, and on 1723, which is the road maintenance for Wyndham. And you need to vote on the budget. And that's all. So 2 work sessions and a budget vote.
And then we can do language review at that point?
You absolutely can.
I think that sounds fine with me also. So if folks don't mind, we'll wait until Monday for the language review. Thank you so very much, everybody. Great work today. I appreciate all your effort in these bills. See you Monday.
thank you and have a great weekend.
You too.